Ran Tang, the class beauty of our class, has a babyish streak. On the day the college entrance exam application deadline closed, she acted coy in the group chat, asking everyone to send her their account numbers, passwords, and verification codes, claiming she wanted to piece together a youth memento. The boys scrambled to hand theirs over. They even pressured me to do the same. In my past life, I stopped it. The girl listened to me and kept her application, but the boys sent the verification code to Ran Tang, who changed it to a private vocational college she could attend later. When the admission results came out, Ran Tang cried and said it was because I was too harsh that day, scaring her into trembling and filling it in wrong. The whole class said it was my fault. I was posted online, cursed until I dropped out of school, and cornered at the school gate before being pushed into traffic. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day Ran Tang demanded my account password. Chapter 1. My phone buzzed against the desk, vibrating so hard it made the surface tremble. As I lay sprawled in a pool of blood, the tires screeched over the puddles, the smell of gasoline filling my nostrils, a taste of rust in my throat. Someone was holding up their phone, filming me, the screen light flickering, shining on my broken fingers. That's her, isn't it? The bitch who got the whole class of boys expelled. Serves her right. Who told her to make my baby cry? I wanted to look up and see who was speaking, but my neck felt like someone was standing on it, each breath breaking off one by one. The last sound was the wail of an ambulance in the distance, so sharp it pierced into my bones. When I opened my eyes again, the ceiling fan creaked overhead, a hot wind carrying chalk dust hitting my face. A line of words was written on the blackboard. The deadline for college entrance exam application form filling is tonight at 8 p.m. I sat up abruptly, the chair legs scraping against the floor tiles. With a harsh screech, someone in the classroom turned to look back. Zhang Yu frowned at me, still twirling a pen in his hand. Su Jihe, what's wrong with you? I stared at him. In my last life, it was him who, the day before I died, posted my photos, my home address, and my parents' phone numbers all over a short video platform. He said I ruined his undergraduate degree, said I should go to hell. Now he was wearing a school uniform washed to the point of fading, sweat beading on his forehead, a hint of post-college entrance exam relaxation still in his eyes, completely unaware that after tonight, he would personally throw his own path into the mud. The phone buzzed again. A message popped up in the class group chat. Ran Tang posted a selfie, sitting in a milkshake shop, her hair clipped with a pink hairpin, her fingers forming half a heart. Words kept popping up line by line. Tang Tang Bao Bao wants to make a class-wide volunteer memento picture. Can everyone send me your account and password? Baby promises not to move, just take a screenshot of where everyone is going. We'll look at it during future class reunions. It'll definitely be interesting. Better send the verification code too, or baby won't be able to log in. Boo-hoo. The classroom immediately erupted. Wang Xiao was the first to reply. Give the baby whatever they want. Here I come. Below is a string of account numbers, passwords, and the last 6 digits of an ID number. Zhang Yu laughed out loud, lowering his head to type quickly. Ran Tang, don't cry just because you saw my college application. Your big bro here is heading to a provincial capital for an undergraduate degree. He also sent one. The boys took turns posting their accounts in the group chat, as if competing over who could be more generous to Ran Tang. After posting, some even at everyone, hurry up, don't keep the babe waiting. Ran Tang replied with a crying emoji. Boys are all so nice, right? Girls will also give to the baby, won't they? My fingertips gripped the edge of the phone, and that familiar feeling from my past life, stomach acid rising to my throat, came back. That day, I sent over 20 messages in the group chat, warning them not to share their admission account, not to give out the verification code, and that any changes in the last few hours before the deadline could lead to trouble. The girls were scared by me and didn't give any. The boys thought I was a buzzkill, but still gave in. At 7:40 in the evening, Ran Tang changed the first choices of over a dozen boys all to Xingwan Vocational College, and also turned off the major adjustment option, that was the private vocational college she could get into with her score, with an annual tuition of 28,000 yuan. The admission results came out, and the boys went crazy. Ran Tang sent a voice message crying, saying she only wanted to change everyone's choices together to capture a moment of eternal youth, but I spoke too harshly in the group that day, scaring her hands into trembling. They didn't dare to blame themselves for handing over their account passwords and verification codes, so they could only bite down on me, because the girls listened to me and secured their undergraduate spots. I became the villain who drove a wedge between male and female classmates, upset Ran Tang, and caused the boys to mess up their college choices. My dad's auto repair shop was splattered with paint. My mom was cursed at in the market, and my admitted school received hundreds of complaint emails. In the end, I was cornered at the school gate by Zhang Yu and his crew. Zhang Yu said, "Kneel down and apologize to Ran Tang, and we'll let you off." I didn't kneel, he gave me a shove. The headlights were blindingly white. I looked down at the group chat. Ran Tang sent another message. "Sister Jiha, you have the best grades, so why don't you post first? Once you do, no one will be afraid anymore." The classroom was silent for a few seconds. More than a dozen pairs of eyes landed on me. Zhang Yu kicked his chair back. "Su Jiha, calling you, what are you playing dead for?" I raised my phone and started screen recording. The red light glowed. I typed a line in the group. "Volunteer account numbers, passwords, and verification codes are personal private information. I will not provide them, nor do I recommend anyone else do so. Those who voluntarily provide them do so at their own risk." The group chat went silent for 2 seconds. The next moment, messages scrolled by rapidly. "Wang Xiao, are you crazy? The baby just wanted to make a commemorative image." "Zhang Yu, Su Jiha, can you stop thinking of people as so dirty?" "Ran Tang, does sister hate the baby? The baby just wants to keep everyone together." I placed my phone on the table, the sweat on my palms dampening the edges of the screen. Outside the window, the cicadas chirped louder and louder, waves of heat pressing against the glass and seeping inside. I looked at Ran Tang's words, "The baby just wants to keep everyone together," and slowly let out a faint smile. "This time, whoever wants to stay can stay." Chapter 2. When Zhang Yu charged over to my desk, the fan happened to hitch for a moment, and the heat in the classroom settled down. The smell of sweat, milk tea, and chalk dust mingled together, making it so stuffy that my throat felt tight. He slammed his hand down on my desk, sending the books scattering. "Su Jiha, what do you mean?" I flipped the screen recording interface face down. "Exactly what I said, don't play dumb." He bent down, staring at me with red streaks in the whites of his eyes. "Ran Tang was kind enough to make a commemorative image, and you immediately slap a label on it, trying to act like you're the only one who sees through things." I looked up. "I'm not stopping you." Zhang Yu choked. A few boys nearby gathered around. Wang Xiao fanned himself with the collar of his school uniform, a smirk on his lips. "Then just give her the account. Your grades are good enough." "What are you afraid of?" I said. "I'm afraid of idiots." Gasps filled the classroom. Zhang Yu's face changed color, and he pointed a finger at me. "Who are you cursing?" I brushed his hand aside. "Whoever sent the verification code to someone else knows who they are." Among the girls in the back row, some lowered their heads, and some clutched their phones tightly. In the previous life, they didn't let me off even after I got admitted. They clearly avoided pitfalls thanks to my warnings. But when the guys ganged up on me, they sneered sarcastically. If only Su Jiha had spoken a little softer. "She's just jealous that Ran Tang is liked by everyone. The boys are pretty miserable too. Who asked her to make such an ugly scene back then? This time, I have no intention of saving anyone's skin." Class monitor Liang Yining, sitting in the front row, furrowed her brow and stood up. "All right, everyone, stop arguing. The account issue really isn't safe." Zhang Yu turned his head and snapped at her. "What's it got to do with you? Girls always stick together." Liang Yining's face suddenly turned pale. Her lips moved slightly, but she said nothing more. I glanced at her. In her past life, she had also been caught up in online bullying. For speaking up on my behalf, Zhang Yu and his gang harassed her until she shut down all her social media accounts. She was one of the few who didn't step over my corpse to crawl out. The phone vibrated again. Ran Tang sent a voice message in the group chat. I tapped to play it on speaker. Her voice was soft and syrupy, with a sticky drawl at the end. "Brother Zhang Yu, don't argue over me. I'm scared. If Sister Jiha doesn't want to, then forget it. Maybe she thinks I'm too clumsy and might mess up everyone's wishes." Zhang Yu's eyes instantly turned red. "Did you hear that? Look how scared she is because of you." I said. "She's right." He froze. "What?" I picked up my phone and slowly aimed it at him. "I just think she'll mess up everyone's preferences, so I didn't give it." "You think she won't? So go ahead and keep giving." The surroundings suddenly fell silent. Zhang Yu stared at the camera, his fierce expression stuck halfway. He wanted to snatch my phone, his hand reaching out halfway before pulling back. Wang Xiao squeezed in from the side. "What are you filming? Su Jiha, did you plan this all along, right?" I nodded. "I planned to protect my account." Someone at the back door of the classroom let out a laugh, then quickly stifled it. That laugh provoked Zhang Yu. The veins on his neck bulged. "Just you wait. Once the baby finishes the commemorative artwork, Don't come crying begging us to include you. I gathered the test papers on the desk into my backpack. No need, I'm afraid of getting dirty. He kicked the leg of my chair, the chair slammed into my shin, sending a numbing ache through the bone. Liang Yining rushed over. Zhang Yu, what are you doing? Zhang Yu pointed at me. She's got a sharp mouth. I looked down at my calf, where a red mark had been grazed on my skin. I opened the camera, taking photos of the positions of the chairs and tables, the footprints, and the time. Zhang Yu's face stiffened. Why are you filming this? I said, as a souvenir. He wanted to curse, but his phone rang. Ran Tang had mentioned him in the group chat. Brother Zhang Yu, the baby can't log into your account. I need the verification code. It's about to expire. Zhang Yu immediately turned his attention back to his phone. A few seconds later, he sent the verification code. Wang Xiao also sent his. 1, 2, 3. The boys handed the knife to others as if they were worried it wasn't steady enough. Every time Ran Tang received one, he replied with a heart emoji. I watched the numbers in the group chat, my thumb pressing down on the screen recording save button. Liang Yining asked me in a low voice, Shiha, should we remind them one more time? I looked at her pale knuckles and said, I already reminded them, but if something really happens to them, I cut her off. That was their choice. The sound of a basketball pounding against the ground came from the playground outside the window, thud after thud, striking the eardrums with a dull rhythm. I put away my phone and zipped up my backpack. In my past life, I died because of that phrase. If something really happens, this time, I won't take others' malice into my arms. Chapter 3. At 7:20 in the evening, I sat in front of my computer at home, the bedroom door half open. From the kitchen came the sound of my dad chopping vegetables, the blade landing on the cutting board, steady and rhythmic, one chop after another, slowly loosening the tension in my fingertips. My mom peeked in at me. Still want to revise your college application? Mom will go through it with you. No need, it's already locked. I refreshed my application page once more to confirm that the institution code, major code, and the option for adjustment were all unchanged. I logged out, cleared the cache, and closed the web page. My phone screen was still lit, with class group messages scrolling by so fast they made my eyes dizzy. Ran Tang, baby is trying hard to take a screenshot. Everyone, please don't rush me. Wang Xiao, no rush, no rush, take your time, baby. Zhang Yu, isn't my choice of school impressive? Ran Tang, brother Zhang Yu's school is amazing, baby can't reach it. Boo-hoo, Zhang Yu, don't cry, I'll have your back from now on. 7:31. Ran Tang suddenly sent a picture. The picture showed her own application page, with Star Bay Vocational College as her first choice and the major being Early Childhood Development and Health Management. She added a caption, baby can only go here. Everyone, please don't look down on baby. The guys immediately comforted her. Who would dare to look down on you? What's wrong with a college diploma? Baby shines wherever they go. If only my scores were enough, I'd really want to be in the same school as baby. I stared at the last sentence. The person who sent the message was Chen Fong. His family runs a restaurant, and his score was 15 points above the undergraduate cutoff. His first choice was originally a safe undergraduate school in another province. In his previous life, after being reassigned to Xingwan Vocational College, he grabbed a kitchen knife and hacked at the kitchen door at home, cursing at his mother for not warning him sooner. But now, after he sent that message, Ran Tang's private chat window quickly popped up. It wasn't a private message to me, it was a screenshot sent by Liang Yining. Ran Tang asked Chen Fong, really, would brother Chen Fong be willing to accompany the baby? Chen Fong replied, of course. Ran Tang said, then can the baby make the commemorative image look better? Just change the order, and then change it back after taking the screenshot. Chen Fong asked, can we still change it back now? Ran Tang, I can, baby's hands are fast. Liang Yining sent another line of text, she just messaged me privately too, asking for my account. I didn't give it. She really is going to mess with their applications. I replied, don't delete the chat, record the screen and save it. Liang Yining, aren't you going to stop them? I watched the screen, my fingertips frozen mid-air. From the kitchen, my mom called me to eat. The aroma of food drifted in, a wave of warmth brushing against my face. I recall in my past life, my mother kneeling at the entrance of the auto repair shop, wiping away paint, her fingers cracked from the cold, hearing passers-by curse me. She gritted her teeth and refused to cry. My father shielded me behind him, only to be shoved to the ground by Zhang Yu's father, his lower back slamming into a car jack, leaving him unable to straighten up for half a month. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, a new message popped up on my phone. Chen Fong had sent the verification code to Ran Tang. I replied to Liang Yining. I've already reminded everyone in the group chat and kept the evidence. Adults need to take responsibility for their own college application choices, especially soon-to-be college students. 7:42 p.m. A sudden wave of celebration erupted in the group chat. Zhang Yu exclaimed, "Holy crap, the baby actually paired me and her together. This commemorative picture is amazing. Wang Xiao, I want one too. I want one too. Put me next to the baby." Chen Fong, the Star Bay Trio, Ran Tang, don't talk nonsense. The baby just took a screenshot, they'll change it back later. I opened the screen recording and saved the entire clip. 7:56. The system started to lag. Someone in the group chat was urging, "Baby, did you change it back?" Ran Tang took half a minute to reply, "Changing it now. The website is so slow." 7:58. Zhang Yu, why can't I log in? Wang Xiao, same here. I can't receive the verification code. Chen Fong, Ran Tang, you can modify mine first. My dad just asked me about my college application, and I'm a bit panicked. Ran Tang, don't rush me, guys, my hands are shaking. 7:59. The group chat began to quiet down. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding against my eardrums. In my past life, at this exact moment, I frantically called them, reminding them to log in and confirm for themselves. No one answered. Someone blocked me. Someone in the group chat called me unlucky. Exactly 8 o'clock. The application system is closed. A muffled thunderclap came from outside the window, and the wind rushed in from the balcony, rustling the pages of the book noisily. In the group chat, Ran Tang sent a crying emoji. Looks like the baby didn't finish the edits. 10 seconds later, Zhang Yu's voice message popped up. I tapped to open it. His voice was trembling, mixed with the sound of a chair tipping over. Ran Tang, what do you mean? How did my first choice become Xingwan Vocational College? Wang Xiaoya sent a voice message, shouting until his voice cracked. Same here. Chen Fong sent a string of text, filled with typos crammed together. Didn't you say you'd change it back? Why the hell didn't you change it back? Ran Tang remained silent for a full minute. Then, she cried, "Baby didn't mean it. The website was lagging. Baby really didn't mean it." My mom came in carrying tomato scrambled eggs and, seeing me sitting still, worriedly touched my forehead. What's wrong? I turned my phone face down on the table and picked up my chopsticks. Nothing, watching a monkey show. Chapter 4. The day the admission results came out, the heat was so intense it turned the sky white. The asphalt gave off a pungent smell, the freezer at the corner store hummed loudly, and the neighbor's dog lay in the shade, panting. When I received the admission notification on my phone, I was helping my dad organize the accounts at his auto repair shop, a major in law at a prestigious university. My mom read the text message 3 times, her eyes reddening, rubbing the back of her hand against her apron again and again before she dared to touch my phone. My dad put up a tough front, saying he knew I had it in me all along, but then turned around and watered the half-dead pothose by the door 3 times. In the class group chat, messages exploded at 10:17 in the morning. Zhang Yu, who found it? Wang Xiao, stop asking. Chen Fong, Ran Tang, come out. No one called out, "Baby," anymore. Ran Tang took a long time to reply. Baby was also accepted by Xingwan. Isn't it nice that Baby gets to accompany you all? Zhang Yu, shut up. Wang Xiao, my dad just hit me with a belt. He said he's going to beat me to death. Chen Fong, my mom was crying at the entrance of the restaurant, and all the customers were watching. She asked me why I wouldn't just go to a good undergraduate program and insisted on attending that crappy school that costs $28,000 a year. Ran Tang, don't blame the baby. The baby is suffering too. Zhang Yu, it was you who changed it. Ran Tang, didn't you all say you wanted to keep the baby company? It's all in the chat logs. The moment those words were spoken, the group chat fell silent. I sat at the entrance of the auto repair shop, listening to the piercing whine of an electric drill as I slowly wiped the motor oil off my hands. It's coming. In my past life, the first blade was swung at me. In this life, they first attack each other. Zhang Yu sent a screenshot. It was his private chat with Ran Tang. Ran Tang asked him, if the baby goes to Star Bay, will you forget the baby? Zhang Yu replied, no. Ran Tang, then do you want to put Xingwan as your preference too? Baby is just asking. Zhang Yu, do you want me to go? Ran Tang, Baby doesn't dare to say. Zhang Yu, alright, I'll keep you company. Below the screenshot, Zhang Yu panicked. I was just trying to placate you. Who knew you'd actually change it? Ran Tang also sent a screenshot, the account, password, and verification code sent by Zhang Yu himself, along with a message saying, "Go ahead and look, babe." Ran Tang, "Brother Zhang Yu, you said yourself to look freely, Zhang Yu, I told you to look. Not to change it." Wang Xiao jumps in and scolds, "You too, stop acting." Ran Tang changed mine too. Ran Tang, brother Wang Xiao also said, "Wherever the baby goes, you go." Wang Xiao, "That was a joke." Ran Tang, "The baby can't tell jokes, the baby is dumb." I let out a laugh. My dad crawled out from under the car, his face smudged with dust. "What are you laughing at?" I handed him my phone to look at. He read a few lines, his brows furrowing tightly. "What do these kids take volunteering for?" My mom came out of the shop, a rag in her hand. "Jiha, you didn't get involved, did you?" "No," I said. "I warned them, and I recorded the screen." My dad put down the wrench, the metal clanked against the table, making my heart skip a beat. "Good, whoever comes to you, don't be afraid." At 2 in the afternoon, Zhang Yu called me. I turned on the recording and answered the call. His voice was hoarse, almost raspy. "Su Jiha, you knew this would happen all along, didn't you?" I said. "I didn't." "No, bullshit." He smashed something on the other end. "Why did you say, 'You'll bear the consequences' that day? Did you deliberately watch us get into trouble?" I said. "I told you the account can't be given, and you scolded me for thinking badly of people." His breathing was heavy, as if there was sand stuck in his throat. "Couldn't you have stopped them a few more times?" I stared at the blinding sunlight at the entrance of the repair shop, my nails pressing into my palm. In my past life, I interfered too much. I was accused of overstepping my bounds, had my chair kicked, and was rumored to be jealous of Ran Tang. Later, they blamed me for not stopping things. I asked him, "Zhang Yu, are you 18 yet?" He remained silent. I continued, "Who filled out your college entrance exam application?" "Myself." "Who sent the account and password?" "I." "Who sent the verification code?" He suddenly shouted, "Ran Tang is crying." I said, "She cries, and you hand over your life, if she cries again. Are you going to burn your ID card for her too?" There was a rapid, heavy breathing on the other end of the line. The next second, he hung up. Half an hour later, in the class group chat, Zhang Yu had mentioned me. "Su Jiha, don't play dead. You knew there was a risk that day, but you only said one sentence and then left it at that. Are you deliberately trying to harm us?" Wang Xiao immediately followed. "Yeah, she must have guessed it long ago." "Chen Fang, none of the girls gave it, did you secretly tip them off?" The girls began to show themselves. I really did remind everyone in the group, "You know, you didn't listen yourselves, so who's to blame?" Some were also in a hurry to distance themselves. I didn't chip in because I was cautious myself. "It has nothing to do with Su Jiha." Ran Tang sent a voice message. She was sobbing intermittently. "Everyone, please stop arguing. It's all baby's fault. If Sister Jiha hadn't sounded so scary that day, baby might not have been so nervous that she forgot to change it back. But baby really didn't mean to harm everyone. Baby just wanted to be together with everyone." The group chat fell silent for a few seconds. The familiar blade finally turned toward me. Zhang Yu said, "Su Jiha, come out and apologize." I opened the group screen recording from that day and posted the first clip. In the footage, my words, "Voluntary providers bear the consequences themselves," were crystal clear. Below is Zhang Yu scolding me for thinking badly of people. I sent the second paragraph. Zhang Yu personally sent the verification code. I typed, "Do I need to send you the video of you kicking my chair?" The group chat went silent. Zhang Yu didn't say anything more. Ran Tang stopped crying as well. Chapter 5. They didn't let up. The next morning, someone spray-painted red paint on the rolling shutter door of my family's auto repair shop. Wicked woman. The two characters were crooked, with paint dripping down the iron sheet onto the doorstep. The sharp, fishy sweet smell, once dried by the sun, stung the nose. My mother stood at the doorway, the vegetable basket in her hand falling to the ground, tomatoes rolling everywhere. My father's face turned ashen, and he picked up a bucket, ready to charge. I held his hand. "Don't wipe it off yet." He looked at me. "Jiha." I took out my phone and started recording from the doorbell camera, capturing the red paint, the footprints on the ground, and the still wet spray can by the corner wall. My father's chest heaved. "Who did this?" I said. "Call the police." The police arrived very quickly. When checking the surveillance footage, two people appeared in the frame. One wore a hat and a mask, walking with a splay-footed gait, dragging his left foot along the ground. I recognized him at a glance. It was Wang Xiao. In his past life, he did the same, kicking the trash can in front of my house, sending broken glass flying everywhere. The police asked if I had any suspects. I packed up the class Group chat records, last night's argument, and Wang Zhao's private messages threatening me, all of it, and send it over. Wang Zhao had sent me over a dozen messages last night. Just you wait, if I can't go to school, neither will you have peace. Your parents run a shop, right? He deleted it quickly, but I turned on message sync, so everything is on my computer. At 10 in the morning, Wang Zhao's mother stormed into the repair shop. She was wearing a floral dress, her hair neatly pinned, and as soon as she walked in, she started shouting at the top of her lungs, "Where's Su Jihe? Tell her to come out." My mother stood in front of me. "What do you want with my daughter?" Wang Zhao's mother slammed her hand on the counter, the glass cup jumped, and water splashed across the table. "Your daughter ruined my son's chance to attend an undergraduate program and even had the police arrest him. Do you people have any conscience?" My father stood up from beside the car, still holding a wrench in his hand. Wang Zhao's mother took half a step back, then stiffened her neck and shouted, "What? Still want to hit someone? Everyone, come and see. Just because you got into college, you think you're so great, forcing classmates out of school and even trying to send people to the police station." Someone on the roadside stopped. A phone camera was raised. I stepped out from behind my mom and raised my own phone. "Ma'am, I'm recording. Go ahead." Her voice caught in her throat. I asked, "Was it me who sent Wang Zhao's account password to Ran Tang?" She glared at me. "That day you knew there were risks. Why didn't you stop him with all your might? We were classmates. You just watched him jump into a pit of fire." I said. "I tried to stop him." He scolded me. "What's the big deal about a few harsh words? Boys have quick tempers. Couldn't you, as a girl, just let it slide?" I held the paused surveillance footage from my phone up in front of her. "So he came to my place last night to spray paint. Was he just losing his temper?" Her eyes flickered for a moment, then she immediately burst into sobs. "You've all driven him mad, a young kid, his future ruined. Isn't it normal for him to do something foolish?" I looked at her, lowering my voice. "I was cyberbullied, blocked at the door, cursed at through the school email. All of it was nonsense." She froze. "What are you talking about? I almost forgot. None of that had happened yet." I swallowed my words and changed my sentence. "He's 18, old enough to fill out his college applications, and old enough to take responsibility for spray painting." Wang Zhao's mother reached out to snatch my phone. I stepped back. She lunged at nothing, lost her footing, and slammed into the edge of the counter, doubling over in pain. My mom was startled and wanted to help her up. I held my mom back. Wang Zhao's mom looked up, tears suddenly streaming down her face. "They hit me. The Su family hit me." I played the video I had just recorded on the spot. In the frame, she lunged over to grab the phone and collided with the counter herself. Clear as day, the onlookers murmured among themselves. Didn't she run into it herself, and her son's spray painting? Does that make him right? Wang Zhao's mother's face turned pale and flushed by turns, her lips trembling, still wanting to curse. When the police got out of the car, she instantly softened. When Wang Zhao was brought in, his hat was pulled down very low. When he saw me, his eyes were bloodshot, and he ground his teeth audibly. The police asked him to identify the surveillance footage. At first, he refused to admit it. I handed over the private chat records of his threats. His shoulders slumped, and he muttered, "I just couldn't let it go." The police said that while the amount of property damage was not large, the acts of causing trouble, making threats and harassment, and spray painting shop fronts still needed to be addressed. The Guardian would compensate, Wang Zhao would write a self-criticism, and the matter would be followed up based on both parties' willingness to mediate. Wang Zhao's mother immediately looked at me. "Jihe, Auntie was just a bit rash just now. Please don't hold it against us. Xiao Xiao is still young. If he gets a record, what will he do in the future?" I watched her hand as she wiped her tears. "In my past life, she posted a video online, saying I was a venomous snake at such a young age, ruining her son's life." I said. "No mediation." Wang Zhao suddenly looked up. His mother's knees went weak, almost dropping to the ground. I stepped back. "Don't kneel, I find it disgusting." Chapter 6. After news of Wang Zhao's spray painting spread to the class group, the boys were quiet for half a day. In the evening, Ran Tang started a live stream. The title was, "After the College Entrance Exam, I Lost a Lot of Friends." When Liang Yining sent me the link, I was organizing the evidence folder. I clicked in, and on the screen, Ran Tang sat in front of pink curtains, her eyes swollen from crying, holding a stuffed toy in her arms, her voice faltering. "Baby really didn't know things would turn out like this. Baby just wanted to hold on to the last bit of high school memories." The barrage of comments flew by rapidly. "Don't cry, little sister. Who's bullying you?" how could something like college application choices be blamed on a young girl like you? Ran Tang sniffled, lifting a tissue to dab at the corner of her eyes. I have a sister who does really well in school. The things she said in the group chat that day were terrifying. I'm already not that bright, and after she scared me, my hands just went all over the place. Later, everyone blamed me, and I accepted it, but then she posted the chat logs, got a classmate scolded, and even called the police to have someone's child arrested. She didn't mention my name, but she exposed a screenshot of the class group chat. My profile picture wasn't blurred out. 3 minutes later, my private messages started blowing up. Are you Su Jiha, high-scoring venomous woman? You knew she was slow, yet you still provoked her. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Think you're something special for getting into a university? You probably stepped on your classmates' futures to get there. My mom came in with a fruit platter, and the moment she saw my phone screen, her expression instantly changed. I put my phone down. It's nothing. Her voice was tense. You call this nothing? My dad stood at the door, his hands still stained with motor oil, fists clenched tightly. I looked up at them. In my past life, I didn't dare to tell them, afraid they would worry, but the mud kept piling up until they were dragged into it too. This time, I turned my phone back over. Dad, Mom, I need you to come with me to the law firm. My dad nodded. Let's go. My mother's eyes welled up with tears, but she still set down the fruit. Mom will go change clothes. The live stream was still ongoing. Ran Tang's shoulders trembled as she sobbed. Baby really wants to apologize, but sister won't forgive baby. Baby got into Xingwan too. Baby didn't take advantage. Someone in the barrage asked why someone else's account password was in her hands. Ran Tang lowered her head, biting the corner of a tissue. Because everyone trusts me. She understood it well. She refused to admit to any tampering, instead blaming everything on trust, stupidity, and being scared. She posed like a cat that had knocked over a cup, then shoved all the broken glass under someone else's feet. I recorded the entire live stream, saving the link, time, viewer count, and key bullet comments. At 8 in the evening, I posted my first video using a newly registered account. No face shown. The screen is a recording of a class group chat. Ran Tang requested the account, password, and verification code. I reminded about personal privacy. Volunteering to provide information at your own risk. Zhang Yu scolded me for thinking people were dirty. Wang Xiao sent a verification code. Chen Fong sent a verification code. Ran Tang privately messaged Chen Fong, asking if he wanted to accompany the baby. Each name was partially redacted except for mine, leaving enough details to trace the timeline while concealing ID numbers and full account information. The caption was just one sentence. I have no right to keep anyone's life for them, nor am I obligated to take the blame for anyone's choices. 10 minutes after the video was posted, the comments section began to turn around. Wait, you already gave away the verification code. Isn't this like opening the door yourself and inviting someone in to move your things? The female lead warned very clearly. How old is this baby? You can't fill out a college application at 3, and you can't pretend to be 3 at 18. The bullet comments in Ran Tang's live stream changed. Someone started posting my video link in the chat. You said you were scared, so why are you privately asking someone to keep you company? Why do you want their account password and verification code? Did you change your college application? Ran Tang's face gradually turned pale, her eyes were fixed on the screen, and her fingers dug a deep crease into the plush toy's ear. She turned off the live stream. 5 minutes later, Zhang Yu went berserk in the group chat. Su Jiha, delete the video. I replied, I won't. You're violating my privacy. I've blurred it, and you're publicly spreading rumors about me. I have the right to defend myself. Chen Fong popped up. Then why didn't you release all the evidence of Ran Tang changing the application preferences? I said, because the platform isn't a court. If you want to pursue this, you can call the police, or ask the admissions office to check the login records. The group chat went dead silent. Of course they wouldn't dare, because the login records would prove that they voluntarily handed over the verification code, that Ran Tang used their accounts to make changes in the final time period, and that every step they took was marked by their own fingerprints. Ran Tang messaged me privately, sister, please delete it. Okay, baby is being scolded to death. I stared at that line of text, my fingers not moving. She sent another message, you've already been admitted to a university, so why do you still want to destroy the baby? I replied to her, because you wanted to destroy me first. On her end, it showed she was typing, stopped, and then typed again. In the end, she only sent one sentence, you'll regret this. I saved a Screenshot, Chapter 7 Rantang's counterattack came quickly. At noon the next day, a marketing account posted a lengthy article. The headline, a high-scoring female student in the college entrance exam manipulated public opinion, driving a classmate to mental breakdown. In the article, I was portrayed as a sharp-tongued top student who was jealous of the class beauty. Ran Tang was depicted as a little girl who was doted on by the whole class but long bullied by me. The screenshots were cut into pieces. My, "I'm afraid of idiots," was singled out and paired with large text. High scores don't represent character. Zhang Yu agreed to an anonymous interview. The voice changer distorted his voice into something strange. She usually looks down on us boys, thinking it's childish of us to fuss over Ran Tang. That day, she clearly knew Ran Tang might make a mistake, but deliberately didn't make it clear. Wang Xiao was also crying. "I just couldn't stand it, so I went to spray paint," but she called the police, trying to ruin my life. The comments section went into meltdown again. I didn't rush to respond. The lawyer told me to secure the evidence first. Notary office, web evidence collection, lawyer's letter. I spent the whole afternoon running around, the soles of my shoes worn so thin that my heels felt hot, sweat trickling down my neck, my clothes sticking to my back, tugging at my skin with every step. My mom was with me, clutching a bottle of water so tightly that the plastic crinkled. "Jiha, are you tired?" I shook my head. "I'm not tired. Actually tired, but compared to the moment before I was dragged into the traffic in my previous life, when my knees hit the ground and my palms pressed into the gravel, what is this tiredness?" In the evening, the admissions office of a university called me. The teacher's voice was very steady. "Student Su, we have received some online reports concerning your college application incident. The school does not handle students based solely on online comments, but we need you to submit a written explanation and supporting evidence materials." I could hear my mother holding her breath beside me. I said, "Teacher, I'm ready." I sent over the evidence package, group screen recordings, private chat screenshots, spray-painted alarm receipts, live stream recordings, marketing account rumor spreading links, and lawyer letters. After the teacher reviewed them, she called back 10 minutes later. "Student Su, rest assured and prepare for enrollment. The school will handle the malicious reports in accordance with the law." My mom immediately sat down on the chair, covered her mouth with her hand, and tears fell onto the back of her hand. My dad walked to the balcony, turned his back to us, and his shoulders shook twice. I ended the call and turned on my computer. Time to post the second video. This time, I included the complete timeline. At 7:20 p.m., Ran Tang requested verification codes. At 7:31 p.m., Ran Tang shared her Xinghuan wishes. From 7:35 p.m. to 7:56 p.m., multiple boys provided her with verification codes. At 7:42 p.m., Ran Tang admitted in the group that she was pairing herself with the boys to create a commemorative image. 7:58, the boy urged her to change it back. 8:00 sharp, the system shut down. 8:01, Ran Tang admitted, "It seems I didn't finish changing it." In the end, I played that line from her stream. The baby just wants to hold on to the last bit of high school memories. At the end of the video, there is a black screen with white text. To keep memories alive, you don't need to log into someone else's college application system. This video went viral. The comments section is no longer just cursing Ran Tang. Some people have started digging into paid marketing accounts. Someone discovered that Wang Zhao's spray painting incident was handled by the police. Someone matched the timing of Zhang Yu's anonymous interview with the verification code he sent in the group chat. Zhang Yu completely exploded in the group chat. "Ran Tang, was it you who contacted the marketing accounts?" Ran Tang didn't reply. Chen Fong sent a screenshot. It was Ran Tang who asked him to help contact his cousin who works in short video operations. "Ran Tang, just say a girl is bullying the baby. Don't mention the verification code. The baby is scared." Chen Fong, what about Zhang Yu and the others? Ran Tang, they'll help the baby. Boys won't stand by and watch the baby get bullied. Chen Fong, then what about my volunteer application? Ran Tang, help the baby first, and the baby will explain to you later. After Chen Fong sent the screenshot, the group chat exploded with curses. "Zhang Yu, Ran Tang, are you treating us like dogs? Wang Xiao, I fucking painted it for you, and you're using me as a shield." Ran Tang finally appeared. "How can you talk about baby like that? It was clearly your own choice." Zhang Yu replied, "I'm willing because I thought you liked me." Ran Tang sent a question mark. "Baby likes everyone." These 5 words were like a slap, silencing all the boys on the other end of the screen. I watched the group chat, feeling not a single ripple inside. Those who are favored are the most likely to trample that favor into the mud. Now, the mud has begun to bite back at her feet. Chapter 8. When the school notified us to return for diploma collection and the thank you banquet, no one spoke in the group chat. The homeroom teacher sent the time and location, then privately messaged me, Jiha, the teacher knows. You've been wronged when you come to school that day. Try to avoid them as much as possible, come to me if anything happens. I stared at this message, my fingers frozen for a long time. In the previous life, the homeroom teacher had said something like this too, but when Zhang Yu and the others cornered me at the stairwell, forcing me to apologize to Ran Tang, she just stood at the office doorway and said, "Everyone, stop making a scene, stop making a scene." Those 3 words drowned out all my cries for help. I replied, "Teacher, if the school wants to issue the certificate smoothly, please arrange a classroom with surveillance coverage and allow parents to accompany." The homeroom teacher took 10 minutes to reply, "Okay." That day, my parents accompanied me. The wudong leaves at the school gate were curled at the edges from the heat, the fan in the security booth whirred loudly, and the air smelled of disinfectant and the rubber track. As soon as I entered the teaching building, I saw Ran Tang. She had lost weight, her pink hair clip still pinned in her hair, dark circles under her eyes, and her lips bitten until they bled. Standing beside her was her mother. Ran Tang's mother wore a silk blouse, the gold bracelet on her wrist dazzling. When she saw me, her gaze immediately pierced through. "So you're Su Jiha." My father took a step forward. Her mother sneered, "What a fine daughter you've raised. She gets into college and starts pushing her classmates to the edge of death." I took out my phone and said, "Auntie, there's a surveillance camera here, and I'm also recording." Her mother's face twitched. "What else can you do besides recording?" I replied, "I can also call the police, file a lawsuit, and submit evidence." Her mother was so choked up that her chest heaved. Ran Tang's tears immediately fell as she reached out to grab her mother. "Mom, please don't say that, the baby is scared." I looked at her. "Ran Tang, stop acting, your mom might fall for this act." "But I won't." She lifted her head, the faint weakness in her eyes cracking open to reveal a sharp, slender hatred, only for a moment, then she lowered her head again. The homeroom teacher quickly came over and said, "If everyone's here, let's head to the meeting room." No arguing in the hallway. In the meeting room, about half of the boys had arrived. Zhang Yu sat in the corner, a fresh slap mark on his face and a split at the corner of his mouth. Wang Xiao didn't show up. Word has it his father locked him at home, waiting for the police to notify them. Chen Fang sat in a chair, his eyes sunken, his whole body looking as if his bones had been drained away. A few girls huddled on the other side. When they saw me come in, they immediately looked away. The homeroom teacher handed out diplomas, her voice flat and dry. When it was my turn, she handed me the certificate and said in a low voice, "Congratulations." I took it. "Thank you, teacher." Ran Tang suddenly stood up. The chair legs scraped across the floor, setting teeth on edge. She walked up to me, tears falling one by one. "Sister Jiha, I apologize to you. Baby was wrong. Baby shouldn't have tampered with their applications or gone live. Can you delete the video? Baby gets scolded every day now. Baby is afraid to go out, and mom can't sleep either." Everyone in the meeting room turned to look. Her mother's eyes were also red. "Su, I'm begging you, Tang Tang did do something wrong, but she was just confused for a moment. You got into a university, and she can only go to Star Bay now. Please let her off the hook." I looked at Ran Tang. She was crying hard, her shoulders trembling, her fingers clutching her skirt hem, knuckles white. If it were the me from my past life, I might have been overwhelmed by this scene, but I've already died once. I asked her, "Are you apologizing because you know you were wrong, or because the video wasn't deleted?" Ran Tang's crying paused. I continued, "When you contacted the marketing accounts, did you ever consider letting me off the hook?" Her lips trembled. "Baby was just scared. When you had Chen Fang hide the verification code and made up stories about me bullying you, did you ever think about how I would be cursed out?" She took half a step back, tears hanging from her chin. "When you called the police to arrest Wang Xiao and posted videos to cyberbully Zhang Yu, did you ever think that they were also the friends you talked about?" Zhang Yu jerked his head up, his eyes frighteningly red. Chen Fang also looked at Ran Tang, the veins on the back of his hand bulging. Ran Tang's mother grew anxious. "Don't you stir up trouble." I turned to look at her. "Auntie, your daughter is more familiar with the word, stir up trouble, than I am." The sound of footsteps came from outside the meeting room door. A uniformed staff member walked in, followed by 2 police officers. The homeroom teacher's expression changed. "This is," the police officers looked at Ran Tang. "Ran Tang, is it, regarding the unauthorized login and modification of others' college entrance exam application accounts, as well as the online rumor spreading. Please cooperate with our investigation. All color drained from Ran Tang's face in an instant. Her mother let out a sharp scream. What right do you have to take my daughter? She's still just a child. The police officer's tone was steady. She has reached the age of 18. The tissue in Ran Tang's hand fell to the floor. Her knees went weak, and she only kept from falling by grabbing the edge of the table. Zhang Yu suddenly laughed. The laughter was dry and hoarse, like sandpaper scraping against sheet metal. Baby, go explain it to them. Ran Tang looked at him, her lips moving slightly. Zhang Yu stood up and kicked over the chair. Aren't you the best at crying? Go ahead and cry for the police. Chapter 9. Investigation is not a drama of shouting and killing. It is slow, meticulous. So meticulous that every login record, every verification code sent, every tone in a conversation, is taken apart and laid out on the table. Ran Tang did not go to prison. Reality is not a satisfying short video drama. She logged into someone else's volunteer application system and altered the information, since the account credentials and verification code were voluntarily provided by the user, and the volunteer application system does not involve financial or property attributes. The case was ultimately not handled as theft or fraud. However, she is suspected of infringing on personal information, disrupting the order of enrollment and application procedures, and coordinating with the spread of rumors that led to online harassment. She faces administrative penalties and civil compensation. The platform dealt with the promotional accounts, removed false content, and banned the accounts. The operator behind the promotional accounts admitted to receiving 3,000 yuan from Ran Tang's cousin to write a script designed to incite public sentiment. After cousin Ran Tang was summoned, he was so frightened that he immediately handed over the chat records. Ran Tang told him, "Don't mention the verification code, make everyone think Su Jiha is jealous of me, and it's best to let a university know she has bad character." Every word was pinned on her. The male students filed a civil lawsuit against Ran Tang, demanding compensation for retake fees, moral damages, and reasonable losses caused by the erroneous college application. The lawyer told them that the amount of compensation might not be fully supported because they themselves bore significant fault. Zhang Yu smashed a water bottle at the entrance of the law firm. Fault? I'm the damn victim here. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. You voluntarily provided your account number, password, and verification code, and expressed willingness to accompany them to school in the conversation. The court will determine the allocation of liability comprehensively. Zhang Yu felt as if someone had him by the throat, his face turning purple. Chen Fang crouched by the door, holding his head in silence. His mother sat on the steps crying, and after she finished, she rushed over to hit him. I told you to fill out the college application, and you said not to worry. I told you not to hang out with that crowd, and you said I was annoying. Now look, no undergraduate degree, and you can't even focus on retaking the exams. Are you happy now? Chen Fang didn't dodge. Slap after slap landed on his back. His shoulders slumped, and tears splattered onto the floor tiles. Wang Xiao had it worse, with spray painting, threats, and involvement in spreading rumors all stacked together. The police issued a warning, ordered compensation, the school's repeat class refused to admit him, and the originally arranged college transfer training program also withdrew him. His father pressed him to apologize at the entrance of the auto repair shop. Wang Xiao knelt under the sun, a piece of cardboard beneath his knees, his face flushed red from the heat. His mother stood nearby, wiping her tears, while muttering curses under her breath. It's all that Ran Tang's fault. Xiao Xiao was deceived by her too. My father held the compensation form, looking at her coldly. Whoever tricked him, it's no excuse to come smashing my door. Wang Xiao looked up at me, his gaze hollow. Su Jiha, if I apologize to you, will you sign the forgiveness letter? I asked. Who are you apologizing to? His lips trembled. I said, to those 2 words on my door, to the day my parents were surrounded and stared at, to every private message you sent threatening me, to every alt account post you made cursing me to death. Wang Zhao's face slowly twisted. He tried to lower his head, but his father slapped him so hard that his face was turned to the side. Speak. Wang Zhao's lip was split, blood dripping from his chin onto his collar. I'm sorry. I looked at him. In my past life, he was the most vicious when it came to online harassment. He cut up my photos, pasted my face into a funeral portrait frame, and said I would only repay my debts when I was dead. I slid the compensation form over to him. Pay the money, but don't expect forgiveness. Wang Zhao's mother wailed. Are you trying to drive him to death? I looked at her. When he spray painted, you said he was just a child. When he threatened me, you said his future was ruined and he was pitiful. now that he's facing the consequences, you say I'm driving him to death. I took a step forward. She instinctively stepped back. Your child is a child, but someone else's daughter. Should she be a stepping stone for him? Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Wang Xiao knelt on the ground, his body swaying slightly, then suddenly covered his face and burst into tears, not regret, but fear of being recorded, fear of paying compensation, fear of having no chance to retake the exam, fear of turning from a boy who was easily swayed by Ran Tang calling him brother, into a fool in the eyes of the neighbors. But this fear came too late. Chapter 10. The real public execution happened on the night of the farewell banquet for the teacher. The originally booked hotel couldn't be cancelled, so the homeroom teacher braced himself and said, "Come or not, it's up to you, we'll eat and then go our separate ways. I didn't want to go in the first place." Liang Yining called me, his voice lowered. "Jihe, Ran Tang's family is also going. Her mother seems to want to ask everyone for written forgiveness in person, and she's also invited a few parents. Zhang, you and the others will be there too." I looked at the admission letter on the table. The red cover lay quietly, its edges illuminated by the light. I said, "I'll go." The air conditioning in the hotel private room was blasting cold air, and cold dishes were set on the table, the scent of cilantro mingling with the smell of alcohol. When I walked in with my parents, the originally noisy room instantly fell silent. Ran Tang sat by the main table, wearing a white dress with her hair loose, curled up. In her mother's arms, Zhang Yu sat on the other side, her eyes swollen, clutching a glass in her hand with her knuckles turning white. Chen Fang didn't sit down, he leaned against the wall, looking as if he might leave at any moment. The homeroom teacher stood up and forced a smile. "Jihu, you're here, have a seat." I didn't sit down. Ran Tang's mother spoke first. "Since everyone is here, let me say a few words. This matter between the children has escalated to this point, and no one looks good. Tang was wrong, and she has already paid the price. She won't be going to Xingwan anymore. We plan to have her repeat the year, but those videos are still online, and she gets scolded every day, unable to eat or sleep. Fellow parents, we all want what's best for our children. Can we sign a statement together, saying this was a misunderstanding, and ask Sue to delete the videos and stop pursuing this?" Zhang Yu's father let out a cold laugh. "A misunderstanding? My son went from a bachelor's program to a vocational college, and that's a misunderstanding?" Ran Tang's mother's face stiffened. "Your son also bears some responsibility. He sent the verification code himself." Zhang Yu suddenly stood up, slamming the cup onto the table, splashing tea into the dishes. "Say that again." Ran Tang flinched and shrank into her mother's arms. Her mother immediately shielded her. "What are you yelling about? A bunch of you boys were the ones swarming around my daughter on your own, and now that something's happened, you're blaming it all on her." Chen Fang leaned against the wall and laughed. As he laughed, tears fell from his eyes. "Yeah, we're pathetic. When she calls us brother, we just lose our minds." Ran Tang shook her head, sobbing. "No, brother Chen Fang, baby didn't." Chen Fang suddenly rushed over and slammed his phone onto the table. On the screen was a recording. Ran Tang's voice came through from it. "Chen Fang is the easiest to handle. His family runs a restaurant, and he's never met a decent girl. Just tell him you're with the baby, and he'll definitely give you the verification code." The private room was dead silent. Chen Fang's mother stood up, swayed slightly, and slapped Chen Fang across the face. "Did you hear that? They say you've never seen a good girl." Chen Fang didn't move. He stared at Ran Tang. "When did you say that?" Ran Tang's lips turned pale. "It wasn't me. That wasn't me." Zhang Yu suddenly took out his phone as well. "And what about this?" Another recording began to play. Ran Tang lowered his voice, a hint of laughter in it. "Zhang Yu has a hot temper. If something happens, he'll definitely go after Su Jihe first. Let him make a scene. If it blows up, no one will be watching me for changing my application." The cup in Zhang Yu's hand shattered, glass cutting into his palm as blood dripped down his wrist. He felt no pain, his eyes fixed on Ran Tang. "In your eyes, am I just a dog?" Ran Tang screamed. "No, why did you record this? How could you do this to the baby?" "Wang Xiao didn't come, his father did." The middle-aged man's face turned ashen. After listening to the recording, he suddenly grabbed his glass and smashed it on the ground. "My son spray-painted for you, and now he locks himself in his room every day, and you're still using him as a pawn." Ran Tang's mother stood up, trying to calm the situation. "Everyone, calm down. The recording might not be real. Tang was just speaking out of anger." I spoke. "Do you want an appraisal?" Everyone looked at me. I placed the document bag on the table and pulled out sheets of materials one by one. Here is the notarized live stream recording. Here are the transaction records from the marketing account's back end. Here are the chats between Ran Tang and her cousin. Here is the inquiry receipt for the admissions system login times. Here is my police report. Here are the threatening private messages from Wang Xiao. And here is the list of malicious complaint emails received by University A. The paper spread out, blindingly white. I looked at Ran Tang. You want to dismiss this as a misunderstanding? Fine, let's go to the police station, the court, or the platform right now and sort out each of these items one by one. Ran Tang stared at the papers, her eyes fixed and unfocused. She wanted to cry, but her tears seemed stuck, her mouth open, only letting out broken, breathy sounds. Her mother reached out to snatch the documents. My father pressed down on her wrist firmly, his gaze cold and hard. You dare move, just try it, Ran. Tang's mother winced in pain, her face twisting. Let go. My dad released her, wiping his hands with a tissue as if he'd touched something filthy. The homeroom teacher stood in the corner, her face pale. She finally spoke. Ran Tang, why don't you apologize to Su Jiha? I laughed. Teacher, now you're only asking her to apologize. The homeroom teacher's lips trembled. I looked at her. Back then, when they ganged up on me in the group chat, you told me to stop making a scene. Now that the evidence is right there on the table, you still just offer a single word of apology. You sure do an easy job of playing it safe. She lowered her head, her face reddening all the way to her ears, yet she offered no rebuttal at all. Ran Tang suddenly slid off the chair, her knees hitting the carpet. She crawled in front of me and grabbed at the hem of my pants. Sister Jiha, baby was wrong, baby was really wrong. Can you please delete the video? Tell them not to sue baby, baby will never do this again. Her hand was ice cold, her nails digging into my ankle. I looked down at her. In my past life, I was also forced to kneel like this. They formed a circle, shoving their phone cameras in my face, demanding I apologize to Ran Tang. I didn't kneel, so they pushed me toward the traffic. Now, she is kneeling under the lights, surrounded by people who once held her up. No one helps her up. Zhang Yu looked at her, his eyes filled with nothing but disgust. Chen Fong turned his face away, his shoulders heaving violently. Her mother wanted to pull her back but was scolded by several other parents into inaction. Ran Tang sobbed until she hiccuped, her forehead pressed against the carpet. Sister, please forgive me. I pulled my foot back. No forgiveness. She looked up, her pupils suddenly contracting. I said word by word, you're not a baby, you're an adult. You can change your application, buy social media accounts, edit screenshots, and push others out to take the blame. You know exactly who gets hurt at every step. It's just that no one ever made you pay before. Ran Tang slumped to the ground, muttering under her breath, no, baby just wanted to be with everyone. Zhang Yu suddenly slapped the screenshot of the Xingwan Vocational College admission notice onto her face. The paper scrap hit her forehead and fluttered to the ground. Then go by yourself. Chapter 11. After the appreciation banquet for teachers, Ran Tang completely collapsed. Her family arranged for her to retake the year, but the school refused to accept her. It wasn't because of the online backlash, but due to her disciplinary record and the risk of public opinion. Private repeat year institutions were willing to take her, but the fees were shockingly high. Ran Tang's mother was selling bags on her social media feed, still trying to keep up appearances in the caption, starting over for my daughter. No one in the comments section replied. Zhang Yu decided to repeat a year of study. His parents sent him to a boarding school in a neighboring city. Before he left, he came to see me once. That day I was passing tools to my dad at the entrance of the repair shop. The setting sun pressed down at the end of the street, and the air was thick with the smell of motor oil and dust. Zhang Yu stood by the roadside, his hair buzzed short, and he looked thinner all over. He stared at me, his Adam's apple bobbing. Su Jiha. I didn't stop. He took 2 steps closer, and my dad crawled out from under the car, eyeing him coldly. Zhang Yu stopped. I'm not here to cause trouble, I said. Speak if you have something to say. He placed an envelope on the table. This is compensation for your family, and, I'm sorry, I didn't take it. His fingers gripped the edge of the envelope, slowly applying pressure, the paper crumpling under the force. I really used to think you owed us. The day the admission results came out, all I could think was that it was over. My dad would beat me to death, my relatives would laugh at me, and the girl I liked had tricked me. I couldn't bring myself to admit I was stupid, so I needed someone to hate. He raised a hand and wiped his face, his palm brushing across his eyes. It was easiest to target you. You had good grades, you didn't get into trouble, and you had even warned us. As long as I said you didn't stop me, I wouldn't have to admit that I was the one who sent out the verification code. I watched him. He finally spoke like a human being, but human words can't cancel out the blade. Zhang Yu's voice was hoarse. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, my dad told me to come, and I felt I should too. I picked up the envelope and put it in the drawer. I'll accept the compensation, and I heard your apology, just don't show up in front of me again. He nodded, his eyes reddened, turned and took a few steps, then stopped. Ran Tang came to see me yesterday and said that as long as I testify that you forced her, she would be with me. My dad cursed. Zhang Yu let out a laugh, a smile uglier than a cry. I almost believed it again. After saying that, he walked away quickly. My dad stared at his retreating figure. That kid still needs a good beating, I said. He's going to beat himself up for a long time. Chen Fong didn't repeat the year, his family wouldn't allow it. The restaurant was short-staffed, so his father made him wash dishes in the back kitchen, his hands soaked until they turned white, the cracks between his fingers split open, and every time they touched dish soap, he would hiss in pain. His mother occasionally spotted me at the restaurant entrance, but would awkwardly turn her face away. Once, while buying water, I heard her scolding Chen Fong in the back kitchen, still calling her your baby, still keeping her company. Now you can keep the plate's company instead. The plate crashed into the sink with a loud clatter. Chen Fong didn't talk back. Wang Zhao's disciplinary outcome was also announced. He had to pay compensation, issue a public apology, and received administrative penalties for threats, harassment, and property damage. His father posted the apology video in the class group chat. In the video, Wang Zhao stood at the entrance of the police station, his eyes swollen, his voice so low it was barely audible. I shouldn't have threatened Su Jihe, shouldn't have spray-painted her house, and shouldn't have spread insulting remarks online. I am willing to accept the consequences. No one in the group applauded, and no one offered comfort. Ran Tang's alt account appeared once in the comments section. Brother Wang Xiao has betrayed me too. It was quickly replied to by Wang Xiao himself. Get lost. This single character was screenshotted and spread everywhere. The last time Ran Tang came to see me was the day before I reported to a university. She was waiting downstairs at my place, her hair a mess, a pink hair clip half broken, and the hem of her skirt stained with dust. The moment my mother saw her, her face immediately darkened. I told my parents to go upstairs first. Ran Tang stood under the streetlight, the light stretching her shadow long. She had stopped crying, just staring at me with a hollow, frightening look. Su Jihe, are you satisfied now? I said. It's okay. Her lips twitched. I have nothing left. The cram school won't take me. Zhang Yu and the others are suing me. People online are cursing me. My parents fight every day. And my mom says she shouldn't have spoiled me in the first place. She raised her hand to grab her hair, her nails scraping against her scalp, making a faint rustling sound. You could have stopped it, if you had scolded them more that day, stopped them a few more times, they wouldn't have given me the verification code, and I wouldn't have ended up like this. I looked at her. Ran Tang, do you still think, even now, that it was my failure to stop you from becoming a good person? She froze. I said, you didn't slip up, you made a choice. Time and time again, I just wanted them to keep me company. Then did you ask if they were willing to sacrifice their undergraduate studies? Her lips trembled, and tears finally fell. They said they were willing, they all said they were willing. They're just trying to soothe you. You understood, but you pretended not to. She covered her ears, crouched on the ground, and repeated over and over, no, baby doesn't understand. Baby is just slow. Baby isn't bad. I bent down to look at her. You're too stupid to buy a marketing account. She froze completely. You're too stupid to edit screenshots. Her shoulders began to tremble. Ben won't let Zhang Yu bite me, let Wang Xiao make a scene, and let Chen Fong contact operations for you. She looked up at me, her face covered in tears, her lips trembling so much she couldn't form a complete sound. I stood up straight. You're not a baby, you're a bad person. When these words fell, she seemed to have her bones pulled out, collapsing to the ground, her throat letting out a short, sharp cry. I walked past her. She suddenly lunged at me, grabbing. I stepped aside. Her palms slapped against the concrete ground, scraping off a patch of skin as beads of blood emerged. She winced in pain, pulling her hand back, and sat on the ground, crying out loud. Someone upstairs opened a window to look. I did not turn back. Chapter 12. On the day of reporting to University A, it rained. Raindrops fell on the suitcases, rolling into tiny beads. At the school gate, people came and went, umbrellas brushing against umbrellas, shoes treading through puddles, splashing up light gray mud spots. My dad carried the luggage, complaining under his breath about how winding the school roads were. but his eyes kept wandering around. My mother clutched the photocopy of the admission letter as if it were a precious treasure, afraid the wind might blow it away. The senior student at the law school's welcome booth handed me a folder of materials. Su Jiha. Welcome. I took the folder, my fingertips brushing against the paper, and the thread that had been taut across my heart for 2 lifetimes slowly loosened. The phone vibrated. Liang Yining sent a photo. She had also reported for orientation, at a normal university in another city, standing at the school gate with a smile, her hair tousled by the wind. She said, "We've all stepped out." I answered, "Yeah, keep moving forward." No one was speaking in the class group chat anymore. The last message was from 3 days ago, sent by the homeroom teacher, wishing everyone a smooth journey ahead. No one replied. Those once lively posts, brothers, babies, memorial photos that used to flood in by the dozens per second, all rotted away that summer. I didn't leave the group. It's not out of nostalgia, the evidence is still there. While tidying up the dormitory in the afternoon, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. After answering, I heard Ran Tang's mother's voice on the other end. She had lost her usual condescending tone, and her voice was hoarse. "Su Jiha, I'm begging you for the last time. Tang Tang cut her wrist last night. The wound isn't deep, but the doctor says she's in bad shape. Could you issue a statement saying you forgive her, just one sentence, to give her something to hold on to?" The sound of rain outside the window suddenly grew louder, pattering against the leaves with a rustling sound. In the dormitory, the new roommate was making the bed, and the clear crackling of a plastic packaging bag being torn open echoed. I held my phone, saying nothing. Ran Tang's mother was crying on the other end. "She's still young, she can't handle so many people cursing her. You've already been admitted to university, and your life is set. Just take pity on her, okay?" I walked to the balcony. Rainwater drifted in, landing on the back of my hand, cold enough to sober me up. In my past life, after I died, my mother had begged them. She begged Zhang Yu to delete my photos, pleaded with Wang Xiao to stop cursing, and implored Ran Tang to speak the truth. Ran Tang posted a status update at the time. "Baby is very sad too, but the deceased is gone. I hope everyone can let it go." Let go. With just 2 words, she pinned my parents' entire remaining years into the mud. I said into the phone, "No." Rantang's mother's crying stopped. I said, "If she's at risk of self-harm, you should find a doctor, contact her family, or seek professional help, not ask the victim to grant her forgiveness. How can you be so heartless?" I gazed at the school path through the curtain of rain. A girl ran by dragging her luggage, while a boy beside her held an umbrella for her. Rainwater trickled down the ribs of the umbrella as the 2 of them dashed into the dormitory building. Laughing, I said, "I'm just returning your family's responsibility to you." Only heavy breathing remained on the phone. I continued, "Don't contact me again. If you keep harassing me, I'll continue gathering evidence." I hung up the phone and blocked the number. When the rain stopped, a layer of pale golden light pressed against the horizon. I opened my suitcase, hung my clothes in the closet one by one, placed the books on the table, and put the admission letter at the very back of the drawer. In my phone's photo gallery, there was still a picture of the intersection where I had my accident in my past life. I wasn't the one who took it. It was sent by cyberbullies to mock me. After being reborn, I never went down that road again. I opened the album, selected it, and deleted it. The system prompted a confirmation. I pressed it down. The screen went blank. In the evening, the college held a freshman class meeting. The teacher asked everyone to introduce themselves. When it was my turn, I stood up. The wind after the rain blew in through the window, carrying the scent of soil and grass. I said, "Hello everyone, my name is Su Jiha, from Qingchuan. I like law, and I also believe in boundaries." Someone in the audience laughed and applauded as I sat down. My phone lit up again. It is a news push notification. A phased mediation has been reached in a college entrance exam volunteer dispute case, with multiple parties assuming corresponding responsibilities, and online rumor-mongering accounts have been lawfully dealt with. The accompanying image was blurred. I turned off the screen. There were no cheers of vengeance fulfilled, nor any tears, only the lights in the dormitory building flickering on one by one, raindrops dripping from the tips of leaves and falling into the soil. I picked up the book and opened it to the first page. The paper carried the scent of fresh ink. New path unfolds beneath my feet. This time, I won't stop fools, nor save the wicked. I'll just keep moving forward. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my past life, my sister adopted a boy, while I adopted a girl. She wanted to firmly control the family's assets and even mocked me, saying, "What's the use? of a little girl, but later, the boy my sister adopted got into a fight at school that resulted in a death, exhausting all their savings. Meanwhile, the girl I adopted was discovered by a director and became a child star, earning a fortune every day. My sister couldn't accept it and urged her adopted son to kill me. When I opened my eyes again, we were back at the orphanage. This time, my sister was the first to pick up the little girl, saying, "Sweetheart, from now on, I'll be your mommy." I looked at the silent boy, smiled, and took his hand. My sister has lived 2 lifetimes, yet still doesn't understand that human effort can achieve anything. Both my sister and I were reborn and returned to the day we went to the orphanage to adopt a child. Just like in our previous life, the director brought Jim and Alice over. Jim had injuries on his body, his face expressionless, his eyes filled with weariness. Alice was nervously twisting the corner of her clothes, looking timid and pitiful. Both children were only 6 years old, yet they lacked the usual innocence and liveliness of young kids. This time, before I could speak, the older sister scooped the girl up in her arms and said, "Sweetie, from now on, I'll be your mommy." Alice was startled and instinctively tried to break free, but she seemed to quickly realize what was happening and nodded, overwhelmed by the unexpected affection. The elder sister smiled with satisfaction, then cast a disdainful glance at Jim. Perhaps recalling her past life, she couldn't help but frown. This child, so young yet full of hostility, nature is determined by heaven. If he's like this now, surely in the future. Jim keenly sensed the malice. Though indignant, he couldn't lash out, only biting his lower lip in silence. "You'll surely make decisive moves and achieve great things in the future." I interrupted my sister's words and gently took Jim's hand. The teachers smiled kindly, though their gazes held confusion when they looked at my sister. As we left the office, I faintly heard the conversation behind us. Didn't Kathy specify she wanted an independent and smart boy, so why did they end up adopting that little Alice girl instead? Tisk, why bother? At least the 2 most troublesome kids are taken care of now. We're off the hook. Speaking of which, her sister Luna seems so timid, she'll probably get a headache dealing with Jim's antics. Watching my sister carry Alice onto the car, cooing, "Good girl," with every step, I couldn't help but sneer. Did she really think Alice was dubbed the nation's darling daughter, in our past life purely by luck? My name is Luna, and my sister Kathy is 2 years older than me. Our parents only had us 2 daughters, and both of us are committed to staying single, unable to persuade us to marry, and to ensure the vast Taylor family wouldn't be left without heirs. Dad had each of us adopt a child. His intention was clear: the more promising the child, the greater the future influence and the larger the share of equity they'd receive. Even more obvious than Dad's intentions was Kathy's ambition. She specifically instructed the orphanage director to find her a smart, independent boy, aiming to groom a decisive future tycoon. The reason the director singled out Jim was simply because he was constantly getting into fights at the orphanage, to the point where even the older kids didn't dare provoke him. As for Alice, she was the prettiest but also the most timid child in the orphanage, often bullied, and at such a young age. She already showed signs of depression and withdrawal. The director was worried that if things continued this way, these 2 children would cause trouble and damage the orphanage's reputation, which is why they were pushed out. In her past life, Kathy had taken Jim without hesitation, even mocking me, saying, "What use is a little girl, no matter how pretty she is, if she can't even speak up? What can you expect her to do?" She thought she had the upper hand, but she never expected that under her permissive parenting, Jim would grow increasingly violent, eventually bullying a classmate to the point of death. At that time, Jim was not yet 14 years old, so he escaped severe legal punishment. But Kathy, in order to compensate the victim's family, pulled strings and exhausted almost all her savings. After such an incident, Dad was extremely disappointed. Not only did he refuse to help financially, but he also outright denied Kathy's inheritance rights. Meanwhile, under my guidance, Alice became confident and poised. She was even noticed by a director and cast in a hit drama, stepping into the entertainment industry and becoming the nation's sweetheart, attracting widespread attention. Dad is preparing to hand over the company to me, but my resentful sister directly incited Jim to kill me. After all, Jim is a minor and won't go to jail. What's the difference between killing 1 or 2, little sister? If you want to compete with me, try again in your next life. Oh, by the way, thank you for leaving me such a money-making daughter. I didn't hear the rest of the words clearly. Stabbed multiple times, I died right before Kathy's eyes. Now that I've been reborn, she still wears the same smug expression as in my past life. Little sister, who would have thought there really is an afterlife? the wheel of fortune turns. This time, it's my turn to live the good life. Take care of the little murderer yourself. Now you can taste my suffering too. He's no easy one to handle." Indeed, on Jim's very first day at school, trouble arose. After school, I saw with my own eyes as he pinned a classmate to the ground and beat them mercilessly. By the time the adults pulled him away, the boy who had been beaten was already bruised and battered, looking utterly disheveled. Jim's hands and face were also marked with injuries. Facing the accusations from those around him, he stubbornly stood to the side, silent, not to mention offering any apology. When the other child's parents arrived, they refused to let it go. If not for the police holding them back, Jim would likely have been seized and beaten by the boy's father. I quickly shielded Jim behind me, bowing repeatedly, forcing a smile, and saying nice words to apologize. An apology is enough. How about I beat you up first and then apologize to you, like father, like son? What kind of bastard dares to lay a hand on my child? Where's the principal? Why wait to expel such a student? The other party's anger hadn't subsided yet, shouting at the top of their voice, drawing an increasingly large crowd. Kathy also came to pick up Alice and, seeing this scene, seemed to have been waiting for it, smugly mocking the situation. "Ouch, that's quite the heavy hand, doesn't seem like a child at all. It's only the first day of school this time. You'll have a long way to go." With that, she stopped looking at me, took Alice by the hand, and turned to leave. "Come on, Mommy will take you shopping for pretty clothes. Homework, what homework? You're going to be a star someday. Stop looking. Why are you staring at that little brat?" I didn't have time to deal with Kathy, so I took out my business card and handed it to the other parent, politely promising to cover all medical expenses and provide financial compensation. Seeing my cooperative attitude, the police also helped mediate the situation. Perhaps the Taylor family name still carried some weight. After reading the business card, the other party's expression didn't soften, but at least their hostility was somewhat restrained. They reluctantly accepted the transfer before storming off. Before leaving, they glared at me while muttering a string of insults under their breath. I pretended not to hear, took Jim's hand, and got into the car, wanting to avoid further trouble. He remained silent with his head down, and I didn't press him further. It wasn't until Jim noticed the car seemed to be heading toward the orphanage that he appeared to grow tense. He stole glances at me, hesitating to speak. I parked the car at the hospital entrance and took him inside to get his wound treated. "We've been delayed too long today. The food Auntie made must have gone cold by now. What would you like to eat? I'll take you." I glanced at the small bandage on his head and added with a smile, "You got hurt today. You need something nourishing." Jim was taken aback. I messed up. "Aren't you going to hit me?" He paused, then instinctively glanced at the intersection, lowering his voice even further. "I thought you were going to send me back to the orphanage." "Who sends their own son to an orphanage? Don't be silly. What happened today? I believe you had your reasons. Say it if you want to, or don't if you don't. It's already been resolved anyway." Jim gave me a surprised look, his eyes lighting up slightly. "He bullied my deskmate and called me a busybody, so I hit him. I know I was wrong. I promise I smiled and chimed in. "You must protect yourself first in the future, my little justice warrior, my brave little man." Jim laughed, sheepishly touching his wound. "Okay." I couldn't help but recall how in our past life, Kathy didn't even ask Jim why he had fought. Instead, she threw money in the other parent's face and even invoked the Taylor family name to threaten them. After they got home, she even praised Jim. "What a good son. Establishing your authority on the very first day of school. That's the way. If anyone dares to mess with you, just throw a punch. If they get hurt, the Taylor family has your back. You're the future heir of the Taylor family. That little girl Luna is raising, don't even think about it. Your grandfather always admired a decisive and ruthless nature." Young Jim didn't understand what it meant to be decisive in battle. All he knew was that he had hit someone, yet received praise and encouragement. Perhaps it was from that moment that the seed of evil was planted in his heart. In this lifetime, I will never allow that seed to blossom into wickedness. Jim is indeed clever and studies very hard. In fact, Alice was the same in her previous life, but this time, after being adopted by Kathy, Alice hardly had any time to study. Kathy said that studying is useless, and Alice is destined to be a female star. Rather than wasting time on studying, it's better to focus on packaging herself to pave the way for the future. So she enrolled Alice in a bunch of extracurricular classes: piano, dance, vocal training, modeling. Every day, Kathy would pick Alice up early from school to attend various lessons. As for her clothing style, it was so mature it hardly seemed fitting for an elementary school student. The school teachers tried to address this with Kathy several times, but she arrogantly ignored their concerns. Later, there was another time when I happened to witness it. My daughter is going to enter the entertainment industry in the future. Could you please stop wasting her time? We won't do the homework, and test scores don't matter. Teacher song, have you said enough? Our piano lessons cost hundreds per session. If you waste our time, will you refund the money? Kathy was stubborn and unreasonable, so Alice's homeroom teacher eventually stopped intervening. As a result, Kathy became even more excessive, frequently making Alice skip school to participate in various fashion shows, creating video accounts to start building fame. Later on, Alice gradually began receiving children's clothing advertisements and started earning money. This delighted Kathy beyond measure, but I was deeply worried. After all, she was a child I had cared for with all my heart for 8 years in my past life. Even if she isn't my daughter in this lifetime, the feelings in my heart won't fade. Alice is still young, her worldview not yet fully formed. If she continues to be raised by Kathy like this, it's hard to say what kind of person she might become. But Kathy and I don't live together, and I don't get to see Alice much on a daily basis. During a family dinner, Kathy kept bragging to our dad about how many followers Alice had and how much money she could make from a single ad. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I took the opportunity to gently suggest, she's still young, there's no rush to make money, it's better to focus on studying first and wait until later. Kathy didn't let me finish before cutting me off with a cold laugh. You're just sour grapes. You're jealous because my daughter is successful, aren't you? Is it because your son keeps getting into fights and can't stand to see my daughter doing well? Instead of wasting your time worrying about our Alice, you should keep a closer eye on your son before he ends up killing someone. Ever since Alice came along, Kathy has been too busy grooming her starlet to pay any attention to Jim. She had no idea that this little troublemaker from her past life had, under my guidance, grown into a responsible and filial young man. As for Alice, you still need to study hard, I couldn't help but say, patting her shoulder with a final reminder before parting. None of your business. Alice abruptly shook off my hand and even pushed me away, her face displaying an arrogance never seen in her past life. Kathy happened to walk out of the room, saw this scene, and gave me a smug sideways glance, lowering her voice. Luna, don't forget, that little murderer is your child. Stay away from my Alice, she won't like you. I lowered my eyes without showing any emotion. After Kathy took Alice away, I returned to the bedroom. I clutched a small note in my palm, which Alice had quickly slipped to me when she pushed me. Mom, don't worry. Those brief 4 words struck me like lightning, leaving me frozen in place. It was written in the small regular script Alice had practiced for 8 years in her previous life. Alice, she was actually reborn too. But this surprise lasted only a moment. Soon, a chill began to spread through my heart. So, in our past lives, after Kathy and I died tragically one after another, my Alice didn't get to live a good life either. Was it an accident, or was it intentional? I couldn't help but recall Jim's demonic nature from our past life. He killed a classmate, killed me, and later killed Kathy too. Could it be that even Alice wasn't spared? I dare not continue thinking about it, constantly telling myself in my heart that even so, it was all in the past life. Now Jim is a principled and responsible child, kind and brave. What I need to do now is to teach Jim well and find a way to protect Alice, preventing her from being misled by Kathy's twisted values. Since Alice has been reborn, I can at least rest half of my worries. In her previous life, her academic performance was among the best, so in this life, even if Kathy delays her studies, it wouldn't have much impact. On the other hand, the expensive specialized courses she enrolled in could help Alice develop a more well-rounded skill set. Counting the days, it's almost time for Alice to be discovered by a director and cast in a web series. Just like in her past life, given Kathy's nature, she would ruthlessly exploit Alice as a cash cow, squeezing out every last bit of her value. It seems this time, I'll have to pass up this rare opportunity. The day Alice received the audition invitation, Kathy couldn't contain her joy and took her home to show off. When Jim politely greeted her with, "Hello, Auntie," Kathy was momentarily stunned. After all, in their past life, Jim had never known the meaning of the word manners. At the dinner table, Kathy eagerly told her dad that Alice had received an audition invitation from a director. "Dad, look how successful Alice is. She's going to be a star soon. Alice, don't embarrass your grandpa. Make sure you perform well." Alice bit her lip, seeming a bit uneasy. Dad smiled and comforted her, saying, "Just do your best. She's still a child. What does it matter about being a star or Not, my reputation isn't something my child needs to earn for me. I heard Alice is auditioning for the role of the young female poet this time. Better dress simply and go looking fresh and clean. Sister, the clothes you usually dress Alice in are a bit too mature for her, I tentatively said, and sure enough, Kathy's face immediately darkened as she impatiently pursed her lips, but before she could retort, Dad also nodded in agreement, reminding Kathy not to be too clever for her own good. A child should behave like a child. Okay, Dad, I got it. Kathy forced a smile and chimed in, not forgetting to roll her eyes at me. I subtly exchanged a glance with little Alice. The next day, Kathy took Alice to the film set for the audition. I followed them in my car and saw Alice wearing a black, form-fitting, off-shoulder cheongsam with a high collar, her slender waist and petite hips accentuated, her red lips striking. Even her long hair had been carefully curled, cascading over her shoulders. True to form, Kathy refused to believe me and had dressed little Alice like a concubine from the Republican era. She had no idea about the events of the previous audition in our past life, and with her hostility toward me, she assumed I was just jealous that she had such a well-raised foster daughter. There was no way she would heed my advice. Sure enough, within half an hour, Kathy emerged with a face as dark as thunder. She walked along, angrily twisting Alice's slender arm, her face contorted in a scowl, frowning as if scolding her. Alice kept her head down without answering, almost being dragged forward. Clearly, the audition had failed. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and when I looked up again, numerous reporters had already emerged from all directions. Kathy immediately adjusted her expression upon seeing this, slowed her pace, and took Alice's hand, putting on a gentle and affectionate demeanor. However, sharp-eyed reporters still noticed the unusual state between them and quickly surrounded them. Kathy had to pull herself together to deal with the reporters. Thank you all for your concern. Due to the intense academic workload and the role not being a perfect fit, our Alice will not be participating in this drama for now. I'll be spending more time preparing for the elementary school graduation exams from now on. Alice had been listening with reddened eyes, but upon hearing Kathy's words, her eyes suddenly lit up. Really, Mom, can I go to school now? That's wonderful. Thank you, Mom, I can finally go to school. Alice burst into tears of joy, but these words left all the reporters present utterly astonished. Upon further questioning, it was revealed that Alice had spent the past few years busy attending various talent classes, leaving her with almost no time for actual studies. I don't want to dance, I don't want to practice singing, I just want to go to school and attend classes, but I haven't been able to attend class for a long time. I even missed the midterm exams. I even promised my desk mate I'd give her a birthday present, but her birthday was already half a month ago. I never wanted to be some actor or celebrity. At this point, Alice burst into tears, her face streaked with sorrow like rain on pear blossoms, and revealed the reason for her failed audition. The director thought her appearance and intellectual depth didn't match the image of a young female poet. But these aren't clothes I picked myself. I don't like this outfit at all. Alice's voice was childlike, yet her eyes brimmed with the resentment of someone far older. She petulantly wiped off the bright lipstick with the back of her hand, then angrily gathered her curly hair into a ponytail with a few rough tugs. I don't like wearing makeup, and I don't like leaving my hair down. All I dream about is wearing a school uniform like my classmates every day. But Mom said I look awful like this. Not at all. Oh, not sexy. She said the director wouldn't like it. Kathy's face darkened completely. She barely paid attention to the reporters, glaring at Alice and shouting angrily, "Shut up, you worthless brat. I've spent over 200,000 just on your special training classes all these years. You useless ingrate. You can't even pass an audition, embarrassing me in front of everyone, and now you dare talk nonsense. If you can't become a star, get the hell back to the orphanage." Kathy, overwhelmed with emotion, revealed most of the hidden truths from these years in her outburst. Alice's face turned slightly pale with fear as she kept pleading in a low voice, "I was wrong, don't hit me, I was wrong, Mom, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have wanted to go to school." The reporters present were frantically taking photos and recording. "Ms. Taylor, is everything Alice said true? Is the Taylor family adopting orphans just to groom stars and amass wealth? Are you aware that your actions are depriving these children of their right to education?" Bold speculation. Is the Taylor family's rush to push these children into the entertainment industry an attempt to launder money for the Taylor family conglomerate? The reporters fired off questions one after another, their inquiries growing increasingly sensitive. Mentioning the Taylor family, Kathy finally became alert and fearful, composed her expression, and explained with an apologetic smile, it's all a misunderstanding, I was just too impatient and spoke out of turn. Actually, whether to enter the entertainment industry or not doesn't matter to the Taylor family, as long as our children are happy and motivated, that's all that matters. I just thought Alice has great potential, which is why I had this idea. Of course, academic studies come first now. Kathy forced a smile, exchanged a few perfunctory words, then quickly left with Alice. From a distance, I watched as she helped Alice into the car, but then began making anxious phone calls before heading off in another direction. It seems she still has some sense of crisis. Now she's trying to do damage control as quickly as possible to salvage her reputation and minimize losses. No matter how fast she is, she can't outpace me. All the trending topic content was finalized by me last night and distributed to various marketing accounts, just waiting for today's photos and videos to drop. Within half an hour, they'll dominate the entire internet. My Alice truly lives up to her past life as a child acting prodigy. Her performance is impeccable. It was worth spending a fortune in advance to bribe reporters to stake out. Soon, both Alice and Kathy's names were trending on social media. The entire internet was condemning Kathy as a vicious, two-faced woman with no maternal love whatsoever. Poor little Alice had merely escaped the orphanage to fall into another whirlpool of misery, appearing to live in luxury, yet in reality lacking even the most basic human rights. Clearly, Kathy only agreed to adopt Alice because she was beautiful, intending to profit from her in the future. The Taylor family was originally mired in controversy, but because I, as the second daughter of the family, also adopted a child and raised them well, it quelled the public's anger. The uproar was then seen as Kathy's personal actions, sparing the Taylor group from any repercussions. Meanwhile, the director of the audition crew also trended on social media. The core theme is dedication to duty and striving for excellence. After learning about the audition process, netizens praised the director for being meticulous in casting, not just focusing on looks but also valuing inner qualities, showing that the director is a person with cultural depth and artistic taste. This trending topic was, of course, bought by me as a form of compensation and repayment, because the outcome of this failed audition was something I had discussed with the director in advance. Alice first met the director, coincidentally, at school. It was precisely because he saw Alice's pure and ethereal appearance, focused on her studies, that he decided to invite her to play the role of the young poetess. Kathy was unaware of this. She thought the director had sent the audition invitation after seeing Alice's account. That's why she thought she was being clever by dressing Alice in a mature and sexy way, trying to please the director, one of those industry insiders, too clever by half. Alice and I worked in perfect sync, rewriting the script in this lifetime. Now Alice's situation is escalating and drawing widespread attention. Soon, Kathy was criticized and educated by the Education Administrative Department of the People's Government. Listed as a negative example across the entire network, higher-level relevant authorities also took this opportunity to warn the guardians of underage actors not to violate the actor's right to education. At this point, Alice could finally focus on her studies with peace of mind. As for Kathy, it was already 3 days later when she was seen again. She stormed into the house angrily, shouting Alice's name and demanding she come out. But it was my dad who appeared. Kathy, how much longer are you going to keep this up? Didn't I warn you not to be so clever? Dad's face was dark, although the Taylor family wasn't negatively affected this time. Kathy, as his eldest daughter, had caused such a scandal, which ultimately brought shame to the family. I stood aside, trying to calm Dad down. Kathy glared at me fiercely, opening her mouth to argue, but was cut off by Dad again. If you and that little girl cause any more trouble, get out of the Taylor family. Dad finished speaking and turned back to his study, leaving Kathy standing there at a loss. These words were nothing short of an ultimatum. Kathy had adopted Alice with the intention of securing the inheritance of the Taylor group. Now, seeing that Dad didn't seem to like Alice much, it appeared increasingly difficult for her to enter the entertainment industry and become a star. Alice seemed to have become a useless card. Although she kept saying she wanted to go to school, her grades were mediocre after wasting those years. Kathy fell silent. Alice appeared at the right moment, reverting to her old submissive demeanor from the orphanage. She lowered her head and shuffled over to Kathy, calling her Mom. Kathy looked at her, her anger boiling over, and couldn't help but slap her hard. You little bitch, worthless burden, don't call me Mom, get the hell back to the orphanage, you ungrateful wretch. I'm not your mother, I don't have a daughter like you. I'm telling you, I've kept a detailed record of every penny I've spent on you over the years. Even if you have to sell yourself, you'll pay me back. Kathy was scolding fiercely, and I couldn't bear to listen any longer, so I quickly stepped in to mediate. offering to repay Alice's debt on her behalf, but who would have thought that Kathy's anger only grew worse when she saw me. What are you pretending to be nice for now? Don't think you can gloat just because this little wretch is useless. Take a good look at what you've raised. After finishing her tirade, Kathy turned to leave. Alice, in tears, ran after her to pull her back, only to be shoved away and sent tumbling hard to the ground. Get lost, stop hanging around in front of me, go back where you came from, Alice asked blankly. Mom, don't you want Alice anymore, useless money loser? What good are you to me? Kathy slammed the door and left. Alice was just abandoned like that, as the villa gate slammed shut. Alice and I finally couldn't hold back our laughter. Little Alice has finally returned to her mother's side. As for Kathy's every word and action just now, they were all clearly captured by the camera. Right and wrong, cause and effect, await future reckoning. My Alice can finally walk the right path. To avoid drawing Kathy's attention, Alice deliberately calculated her answers in the elementary school graduation exam, scoring only at an average level. Fortunately, upon entering junior high school, she and Jim were assigned to the same class. I repeatedly reminded Jim to look after his sister. Perhaps as he gradually enters adolescence, Jim seems to be speaking less and less. There's always a sense of distance between him and Alice. This sense of distance mainly comes from Alice. She remains trapped in the shadow of her past life, where I was stabbed to death by Jim, unable to break free, and thus her attitude toward Jim is always cold. Jim, unaware of the reason, gradually begins to feel a growing rift between them. I am deeply anxious about this but powerless to change it, so I can only pin my hopes on time. The days appear to flow peacefully, but beneath the surface, turbulent undercurrents rage. Later, Kathy started coming home more often, but she still ignored Alice, sometimes even making sarcastic remarks, because Alice's grades remained average at best and the video account she had built up earlier had been neglected for a long time, losing most of its followers. In Kathy's eyes, Alice was truly a lost cause. The frequent new and old wounds on Jim's body also made Kathy feel satisfied, believing he was getting closer to becoming a murderer. This matter is also a hidden worry of mine, because over the past few years, I have discovered that deep down, Jim has a wild and impulsive nature. Although I have tried my best to guide him in the right direction, who can guarantee that every impulse of his comes from a good heart? Perhaps freedom would nurture his growth better than restraint. So when Jim expressed his desire to join a freestyle fighting training camp during the summer vacation of his second year in junior high, I only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. This training camp was held in another city, lasting a month with fully enclosed management. After the training, participants would compete in a provincial-level fighting tournament. Outstanding performers might even have the opportunity to be selected for the provincial team's reserve talent pool in the future. Before parting, I reminded Jim to stay true to his original aspirations and forge ahead. What lies ahead in the future is not our goal. I just wanted him to do what he loves. For the first time ever, Alice also went to the station to see him off, but as usual, she remained silent, concealing countless thoughts. After seeing Jim off, I gathered my spirits and began to think about Alice's situation. Becoming an actress had always been Alice's dream. Turning down that rare opportunity last time was already the result of a difficult choice for her. According to the events of the previous life, she would encounter her second opportunity this summer, is a role in a modern TV drama. In the previous life, this role directly elevated Alice to the status of nation's sweetheart. I don't want to force Alice to give up the life she aspires to because of Kathy. This time, if Buddha stands in my way, I'll kill Buddha. If God stands in my way, I'll kill God. Having already faced death once, what is there left to fear? After making thorough preparations, Alice joined the team. This matter, naturally, could not be hidden from Kathy. On the very day the Reuters report leaked, Kathy made her appearance. This time, she completely dropped her previous cold demeanor and smiled warmly, just like when she first returned to the orphanage. My dear, why didn't you tell Mom when you joined the crew? Good girl, I always said you'd become a star. Starting tomorrow, Mom will accompany you on set. You're just a child. You don't understand how complicated the entertainment industry can be. Don't be fooled by those with ulterior motives. Kathy deliberately glanced at me sideways as she said this, her implication unmistakable. I smirked silently, watching Kathy like a spectator, curious to see just how thick-skinned she could be. Clearly, it was even thicker than I had imagined. Alice, how much did you get paid for this drama? If I remember correctly, 3 years ago you said countless times with your own mouth that you're not my mother and that you didn't want me anymore. Alice spoke with a calm expression, the childishness in her features already somewhat faded. Though she's not yet 14 now, when you add up her past and present lives, she's experienced over 20 years of time. Kathy's poor acting skills couldn't possibly deceive her. Sure enough, Kathy gave an awkward smile, trying to brush it off. How could that be? Mom was just saying things in anger. Alice, don't, then keep being angry. I don't really need a mother anyway, Alice sneered. How dare you speak to me like that? Did I give you too much leeway? Let me remind you, I adopted you from the orphanage. There's paperwork to prove it. All these years I've fed you, clothed you, paid for your education. Do you have any idea how much? Kathy's words were cut off mid-sentence by Alice. You've said it many times. It cost $213,600. Don't worry, I'll pay you back. I'll give it to you as soon as this drama is finished. Hearing this, Kathy's eyes lit up. She was now certain that Alice's acting fee was substantial, making her even more reluctant to let go. Then, as if by magic, her face instantly brightened again. Silly child, there are no grudges between mother and daughter that last overnight. What's all this talk about paying back? What Mom means is, you're still young and naive, so don't let anyone take advantage of you. Don't just hand over the money you earn from acting to anyone for safekeeping. Be careful or you might not get it back. Minors can't open bank accounts, so acting fees can only be transferred to a parent or guardian. Kathy must have been certain the money would end up in my account, which is why she stirred up trouble like this. Unfortunately, she was wrong again. Do you really think I'd stoop to taking a child's money? Dad's deep, authoritative voice sounded from the study doorway. Kathy, you've utterly disappointed me. Does your heart hold even a shred of familial love and righteousness beyond money? If I were to hand the Taylor family over to you, it would surely be ruined. Father's face betrayed no emotion, yet this casually spoken sentence completely extinguished Kathy's delusions. Her face turned pale, her lips trembled slightly, and her eyes were filled with unwillingness. Why, Luna, why is it still you? I clearly knew everything, controlled everything, so why is it still you? No, I refuse to accept this. Kathy seemed to be on the verge of madness. Her eyes were bloodshot as she fixed her gaze on Alice. I was the one who took you out of the orphanage. I raised you all these years. I spent money to nurture you. Alice, do you think you've grown your wings strong enough? Just a little girl who hasn't even grown all her feathers yet. If you don't obediently return to my side within 3 days, I guarantee the entire internet will know every detail about how you slept with big shots to trade for resources. You all can't stand to see me doing well, right? Then no one will have it good. Kathy has gone mad. What nonsense are you talking about? When has Alice ever been involved in such things? Fury surged through me, and I could feel my temples throbbing violently. Alice hasn't, but who would believe that? Exposed by her own adoptive mother's words. Do you think she can still walk this path smoothly in the future? Kathy smiled faintly, her eyes gleaming with venom. Kathy, have you lost your mind? How could you slander your own adopted daughter like this? What about the dignity of the Taylor family? Dad stared at Kathy in disbelief, as if he had never truly known her. What does the dignity of the Taylor family have to do with me? It's not mine. Ha 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 ha. If I can't have it, I'll just destroy it. Alice, think carefully. Either give me all the money you'll earn in the future, and you can enjoy a dazzling life under the spotlight. Either join me in infamy and rot in your first play. Alice's fingertips trembled slightly, her face pale. She stared at Kathy with a complex gaze. Beyond hatred, there seemed to be something else. Alice, don't be afraid. We won't just stand by. I hadn't finished speaking. I'll go with you. Alice broke free from my grasp and walked toward Kathy. Alice, I was shocked. I'm sorry, but I can't give up this path. I want to be an actor. I want to act in films. I want to live a life in the spotlight, even if it means truly rotting away. I'm willing. Alice's slender figure walked out of the villa gate just like that. For the next month, she never came back. I could only assign more people to keep a close eye on her in secret, fearing she might cause any trouble. Fortunately, for most of the past month, she stayed on set filming, as they had to wrap up before the school term began. Meanwhile, Jim was in a fully closed training camp, with no news at all. This past month has been excruciating for me. Kathy, on the other hand, is riding high on success. Few remember the events from 3 years ago now. Alice's leaked makeup and styling for the new drama have won hearts, charming and adorable, already gaining her a following of sister fans and mother fans. The drama hasn't aired yet, but she's already popular. Kathy has also learned to behave, appearing especially gentle and loving in public. She even deliberately reads books while waiting on set, trying to craft an image of a scholarly mother. Very deliberate. very successful. At least that's what the marketing accounts and paid trolls she bought are saying. Thanks to Kathy's efforts, her relationship with her father has improved significantly. At least there's no more tension, no more of that frenzied hostility like last time. I know she still has her eyes on the group, but all I want is for my Alice and Jim to be safe. The day Alice wrapped up filming for her new drama happened to coincide with Jim returning home from training. Kathy was bringing Alice home for a celebration dinner when I was just about to head out to pick up Jim. No need to pick him up anymore, your son is now a gang leader. What an achievement, coming home with a whole entourage of underlings. Kathy gave me a sarcastic sideways glance and swaggered inside to tattle to Dad. I walked out and saw several motorcycles parked at our doorstep, a group of burly teenagers gathered at the door, each with sharp, aggressive eyes and an intimidating aura. Jim, so this is your place, damn impressive. Jim, when are you treating the boys to some food and drinks? Show us a good time. Yeah, Jim had tanned 2 shades darker, his arms and chest broader, the sharpness in his eyes even more pronounced. There were new scars on his body and face. He really had a bit of a gangster vibe now. Kathy sneered in front of me, but when she actually faced Jim, she grew much quieter. After all, this teenager had already grown taller than her, and the muscles on his arms were astonishing. Most importantly, in her previous life, Kathy had personally witnessed how he killed someone. In this life, she naturally didn't dare to provoke him lightly. Anyway, she believed she had Alice firmly under her control, effectively holding onto a cash cow. Everything was just fine. Jim remained taciturn, burying himself in his meal after exchanging greetings. His ravenous, almost desperate manner of eating was downright alarming to witness. I seized an opportunity to tell Jim about everything that had happened to Alice over the past month. They were about to start school, and would be in the same class. Although there was still a distance between them, I followed the usual practice and reminded Jim to protect Alice. Now that Alice is living with Kathy, I'm truly uneasy, fearing she might harbor ill intentions and harm my daughter. As it turned out, my worries were not unfounded. After Alice wrapped up filming, she received several minor roles one after another, but Kathy's ambitions were too great. She was no longer satisfied with small fish and shrimp, so she actively worked her connections, even wanting to bring the underage Alice to dinner parties, and she did exactly that. One night at the end of August, the rain poured down in torrents. Jim didn't come home. I anxiously contacted the homeroom teacher and learned that Kathy had picked up Alice at 5 p.m., followed by Jim leaving shortly after. The homeroom teacher had assumed it was some family matter with the Taylors that led to both children being picked up early, so they didn't confirm with me. Outsiders only knew that Kathy and I were biological sisters. Who would have guessed we were already at each other's throats? Sensing something was wrong, I immediately called Kathy. As expected, no one answered. 5 hours had passed since they left the school. I immediately told my dad the news and asked him to mobilize all his connections to search for them. Though he was also surprised and anxious, he didn't understand why I was so distraught. I can't explain why I'm so frantic and terrified. It's because in my past life, my Alice died on a rainy night just like this. To climb the social ladder, Kathy lured Alice to a dinner party and personally drugged her drink. When Alice woke up, she found herself naked, thrown onto a bed, covered in wounds and filth. In utter despair and devastation, she called me, only to be told by the police that I had already been stabbed to death by Jim. She, with nothing left to live for, gazed at the storm outside and leaped from the 17th floor. It was already past midnight, and no one noticed. The relentless downpour triggered floods, with water surging into underground parking lots and elevators, submerging everything up to the first floor. Poor Alice wasn't discovered until her bloated body floated to the surface. This was the past life that Alice only revealed to me with trembling lips after my countless inquiries. This was her shadow, the pain she never wished to mention again. This time, as I watched the torrential rain outside the window, I silently cursed my own carelessness. I had thought I had altered the course of the story, but I forgot. Kathy's greed and cruelty had never changed. In addition to calling the police, I also spent a considerable amount of money hiring paparazzi and reporters from various entertainment companies to search every hotel, club, and other locations they knew about. Overnight, almost the entire internet became aware that both adopted children of the Taylor family had gone missing. The Taylor family could no longer afford to care about public opinion or rumors. Everyone knew what unspeakable things a young, newly famous actress might endure after being missing for a night. But for me, as long as everyone is safe, that's what matters. Paparazzi are truly paparazzi. Their sense for entertainment is razor sharp. Soon, someone claimed to have seen Alice at a private club, apparently with Kathy. Alice looked flushed, as if she had been drinking. I quickly gathered my team and rushed over. The floodwaters from the storm had already poured into the underground parking lot, the elevator was broken, the entire building had lost power, and the surveillance cameras were down. After a strenuous climb to the floor the informant mentioned, I found the dining table and the living room covered in messy leftovers. I searched every room but couldn't find even a trace of Alice or Jim. The heavy rain still showed no signs of stopping. I stood by the window, trembling all over, almost too afraid to look down. I was terrified. I feared that in the water pooled at the base of the building, a pale corpse might surface. I don't know how I managed to leave. The icy floodwater rose up to my knees. The torrential rain pounding against my face made it impossible to keep my eyes open, yet at the blurred edge of my vision, I thought I saw a familiar figure. No, two figures. Jim, I shouted in delight, stumbling forward in an attempt to run toward them, but constantly tripping over obstacles hidden beneath the water. It's Jim. His shoulders are so broad and strong, his arms so powerful. He's still a child, yet already carries the responsibility of a man. Alice's slender frame was cradled securely in his arms, protected so well. Mom, I'm protecting my sister, don't worry, he smiled, with a wound on his temple, the blood washed clean by the rain. This scene brought tears to the eyes of many reporters. Alice lay in the hospital for a full day and night before gradually regaining her strength. Jim is in good health, just suffered some minor injuries. The disappearance incident has become widely known, with many reporters already gathered outside the hospital room. I initially wanted to ask them to leave, so the children could rest properly, but Alice said that some matters should have been settled long ago. She lay half-reclined on the hospital bed, recounting the events of that night to countless reporters and cameras. Kathy took it upon herself to arrange a dinner for Alice, even going so far as to pick out her outfit and perfume. She even used threats and incentives, saying that if Alice wanted to continue acting, she had to go. What was supposed to be a normal social dinner turned out to be anything but. Until Alice drank the beverage in the glass, she soon felt dizzy and weak in her limbs. Her last conscious moment was a blurry vision of the so-called film industry tycoon leering as he reached out to touch her. Fortunately, when Alice was picked up early from school by Kathy, Jim, feeling uneasy, secretly followed them. While Alice was in the restroom, Kathy personally slipped the drug into her wine glass. This scene was all clearly captured by Jim, who had previously bribed a waiter to secretly place a phone behind a vase for recording. As for Kathy's transactional conversations with those resource tycoons, the evidence is irrefutable. Unable to find a chance to warn Alice, Jim had no choice but to take a desperate risk and break down the door after Alice was taken away. He knocked the person unconscious but was also injured in the process. Alice lay unconscious while people occasionally passed by outside, worried that the boss's men might discover them. Jim simply tied up the unconscious boss with curtains and hid in the room with Alice, keeping watch. He had intended to report his safety, but the storm damaged the power system, cutting off electricity in the entire building. His phone had also run out of battery after recording for too long. It wasn't until the early hours of the morning that he dared to carry Alice and flee through the rain. They spoke in great detail, except, they concealed one thing, that was why Alice, foreseeing such a setup, had conspired with Jim to turn the tables and expose Kathy and those so-called big shots for who they truly were. It was just that everything happened too suddenly, and they didn't have time to inform me in advance. Thus, my anxiety and despair became the perfect cover. No one would have guessed that the truth coming to light was all part of a scheme within a scheme orchestrated by two kids. That old bastard is still tied up in the room. He didn't lay a finger on Alice. Lucky I didn't beat him to death. If it weren't for the fight next week, I wouldn't have held back at all. Jim clenched his fists, cursing under his breath. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. With tears in my eyes, I patted Jim on the shoulder but couldn't utter a single word. The month-long intensive training had made Jim the strongest player on the team. He participated in the city-level competition and won the championship. The young players on the team admired and respected him, all calling him Jim. Next weekend, he will participate in the provincial team selection. The coach said that Jim has tremendous potential and a bright future. Jim was speaking enthusiastically, but my mind was wandering, filled with thoughts of how he had saved Alice. It was him who saved Alice. My Jim is indeed decisive and capable, destined for great achievements. In a daze, Alice and Jim had already taken turns presenting various pieces of evidence to the reporters. 3 years ago, after failing the audition, the video and audio of Kathy's furious abandonment. After this incident, factual evidence of me financially and personally raising Alice. After Alice joined the production, Kathy attempted to reconcile but, upon rejection, became resentful and threatened her reputation. video evidence of this, and video evidence of Kathy drugging Alice to strike a deal with a powerful figure. Additionally, Alice presented substantial evidence of Kathy bribing senior officials in relevant departments. Regarding the initial audition failure, the director publicly stated that it was the result of prior communication with me. Kathy's controlling nature made even attending school problematic for Alice, forcing her to reluctantly give up the golden opportunity to debut. Only by appearing completely worthless could Alice make Kathy temporarily back off. The director said that Kathy kept trying to push Alice into the entertainment industry, while I kept trying to send Alice back to school. The contrast between the two approaches speaks for itself. All of this left the seasoned journalists present utterly astonished. After all, standing before them wasn't some 20-something starlet, but a girl who hadn't even turned 14 yet. Kathy's exploitation is truly outrageous and insane. The law stipulates that if the relationship between adoptive parents and adopted children deteriorates to the point where they can no longer live together, the adoption relationship can be terminated by mutual agreement. If the adopted child is over 10 years old, their consent should be obtained. Ms. Kathy neither discussed terminating the adoption with me nor sought my consent before abandoning me. Moreover, during the upbringing process, my right to education was repeatedly denied. I will file a lawsuit in court to hold her legally accountable. Alice spoke to the camera with neither arrogance nor humility, her voice clear and resolute. Though the two children were young, their words and actions were mature and composed, each taking responsibility. The media has been reporting extensively, praising the Taylor family for their excellent parenting, with only Kathy being the black sheep. After the reports were published, the entire internet was abuzz with discussion, but this black sheep has surprisingly remained uncharacteristically composed. She still hasn't made an appearance, and her phone remains unreachable. I comforted the children, saying that justice would prevail and Kathy couldn't escape the law. But to our surprise, 2 days later, we were informed by the court that the lawsuit had been dismissed. When we saw Kathy again, we could hardly recognize her, having been trapped in the elevator filled with stagnant water for so long. Her body had swollen grotesquely, with her facial features distorted in a horrifying manner. According to the forensic ruling, Kathy took the elevator to the parking lot that night during the heavy rain, but was trapped due to elevator malfunction. With the entire building's power out and no signal, she couldn't call for help. She was gradually submerged by the rising rainwater and suffocated to death. Calculating the timeline, this likely occurred after Alice's medication took effect and she was taken away, just as Kathy was preparing to leave the scene. Unfortunately, this time she wasn't so lucky. No one knows whether she regretted what she had done to Alice when she was trapped in the elevator, helpless and watching the water rise above her head. But one thing she said was right: what goes around comes around. The despair Alice and I felt in our past lives, she has now tasted in full. In this life, all I wanted was to protect the children with everything I had. In the end, karma still didn't spare Kathy. Journalists reported the whole story, and everyone was saying Kathy got what she deserved. She dug her own grave. Dad seemed to have aged 10 years overnight, his face filled with exhaustion. No matter how despicable Kathy was, she was still his daughter in the end. I couldn't feel any relief either. My heart was filled with unspeakable heaviness. Kathy and I were biological sisters, yet we clashed for 2 lifetimes, ending up like this. Perhaps the only consolation is that Alice and Jim finally bridged their differences and became as close as real siblings. Jim successfully made it into the provincial team, and what lies ahead for him is the path of a professional fighter. Alice, just like in her previous life, soared to fame as the nation's darling daughter, thanks to this drama. The two children continued to shine brightly on their respective paths, with a future full of promise. Meanwhile, under my father's guidance, I began taking over the company's affairs. The company allocates a fixed amount of funds annually for charitable causes, supporting orphans in completing their education. I believe there will be more Jims and Alices stepping out of the mud and striding toward a broad and bright future, and this is also the greatest dream of my rebirth in this life. After hearing the stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.